Okay, so it looks like they're all going through. So we already minted a lot of NFTs automatically, minute after minute, and it looks like they're all appearing on Opensea. So now we can work on the webhook option too.
Hello everyone, in today's video we want to show you how to create Airdrop NFT for specific user using Openzeppelin Defender Autotask, which makes it instantly after certain period of time. So how to do that? First of all, let's visit Openzeppelin Wizard tool. It's open source, it's free, you can use it. We'll leave the link in the description. So we want to create ERC721 contract. To do that, we can set name, symbol, the simplest things, and also the URI for our NFT metadata base. Next things we want to add is mintable function and auto increment IDs, because we want for NFTs to increment automatically, and also we want to mint them. And for the contract security, we want to set the access for the roles, the specific roles. So it will be for the minter and for the admin. All right, so we can get this ready code and get straight to the remix, but we have already prepared that, so you can check the contract. So it's the function base URI, is the function saving base URI, of course, to set the metadata of NFT I mentioned about, and save mint to simply call the function mint to create the NFTs. Also, the next important thing is that we added in the constructor the token ID counter incrementing. So we want to start from the ID number 1, not ID number 0, as it would start. So what to do next? Just deploy the contract. So let's use injected web3 and deploy it. Right, now we got the contract, so let's at first just copy the address, and let's go to the next tool we'll be using, Openzeppelin Defender. So our next task is to create relayer, because we need to create the address we'll be using for calling actions and so on. Let's name it as we want. We'll be using Rinky in this tutorial. Now Openzeppelin Defender will create the Ethereum address for us, also with the API key and secret key. You can write it down, copy that, screenshot that, or whatever you want, and strictly go to the relayer. All right, so now we are in. So how to add funds in a fast way? We can simply copy the address of our relayer and send the transaction from our other address that we have funds on. So just click send. We'll make a transaction, for example 0.2 if, just send it. We also have to make sure that every settings for the relayer are right. So let's check. So we need to unclick the third one to make sure it works. All right. Now that we got relayer, we can go for a moment to the remix, because we have to add one thing. So we have to grant the role of our relayer. So to do that, we have to get the address of the relayer we want to grant role to. So let's copy that. And also we have to select the role we are interested in. So it will be a minter role, because we want to mint NFTs. So let's get the information and pass as an argument to the function grant role. Great. So now we are ready to create Autotask.
Now as we check that we have the money, we have the settings, and the whole relayer ready, we can move to the Autotask section, where we want to create a new Autotask. And let's call it mint NFTs every 1 minute. And here we have two options. So we have schedule and webhook. In this case, we'll use schedule, but so that it happens every, for example, 1 minute. But we also can use webhook, so it wouldn't run every 1 minute, but it would run every time we send a post HTTP request. And we'll cover this case later too. But now let's go with the schedule one. And let's do this every minute. We need to connect our relayer, so our mint relayer. And here is the source code that will be run by the Autotask. And it's a sample one, but we have our custom code that we'll also put on GitHub so that you can copy it. So when you paste the source code, you can see that here up high we have our addresses. So the first one is the address of our smart contract, which we need to copy from Remix. So we need to paste your own address too. And here we have the recipients. So if you have if you have a few MetaMask wallets, you can send the addresses of them, and this way this address will receive the NFT of the index 1, this one second, third, and so on. We create a counter to go through this list later on in the code. We have some dependencies, so ethers, standard, and some dependencies from Defender that are also required for signing transactions. Here we have two functions. We have the starting one, which creates a provider and signer. It's required stuff. And we have a log saying that we are using this relayer. And then we go through the recipients. So we take the current or next recipient, and we pass him to the SafeMint function. But if the airdrop has finished, so we sent all of the NFTs we wanted, it will say that the airdrop has finished, and it won't touch the smart contract. And the SafeMint function, which talks to the smart contract, which triggers this function of the same name there, increments the counter, passes the recipient, and logs out the information about the minted NFT and transaction hash. So yeah, that's it. So just remember to change the addresses. Everything else should stay the same unless the interface for minting function changes in Openzeppelin, but shouldn't change anytime soon. So now let's create the Autotask. And some info about the relayer. Relayer will be like a automatic wallet which will sign all of the transactions, so that it can happen automatically and you don't have to sign it through your MetaMask account, because it would be pointless to click there every minute. And it's also authorized because we granted it the minter role, so it can mint NFTs in our contract. And so now we can either wait for the automatic run, but we also have an option to run Autotask now. So let's click it. Okay, so the transaction is successful. We have our logs I talked about. And shortly after, just about 1 minute, we'll be able to see the second transaction, which was triggered automatically after 1 minute. So yeah, you can see that we have a trigger section, and this one was manual, and there was also a scheduled one, also successful. So let's create like a third NFT, and shortly we'll have the fourth one triggered automatically. And now we are able to copy the address of the smart contract and go to the Etherscan and see the transactions to make sure that they went through. We can go to the tracker to see the holders, and it's probably still taking its time to update the new holders, but we'll be able to see them here shortly. And while it's still processing, we can go to Opensea, testnet's Opensea, and look for the NFTs here too. And as you can see, we already have 3 NFTs and more to come. And we can also check the owner. So item activity is not ready yet, but yeah, there's owned by for F01, and this one will be owned by somebody else according to our recipients list. So yeah, I think that's it. And now we can go through the second option. So we can create a new Autotask, but this time let's call it a webhook mint Autotask. We need a relayer too to sign the transactions. So it's mint relayer, and we'll use the same source code. Okay, and we have to change the address of the smart contract, and here it is. Let's keep the recipients the same, and create. And now, as you can see, we have the webhook URI, and it's a secret, so you shouldn't send it to anybody. You shouldn't show it to anybody, because when you send a post request, and I will use a curl for this. You can also use Postman or whatever. Okay, we can see the response. So let's refresh the runs history. And you can see that it went through, but this time using the webhook URI. So if you want to trigger it using like an application that doesn't even have to know about blockchain, doesn't have to use Web3, you just use a post request under this URI, and it will mint you more NFTs. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.